This segment right here, nigga. This segment right here, nigga. Is to pay homage to the unsung heroes of the game. The overlooked, the unappreciated, but nonetheless the greats in the game that may not get the popularity, the polarization of a LeBron James, of a Kobe Bryant, of a quote-unquote shoe-in. I'm talking Baron Davis. In the segment, I'm talking how good was. You saw the first episode. We was talking about Brandon Roy, riddled by injuries. But if you saw him at his apex, you knew the nigga was cold. And today's guest is no different. B-Diddy. B-Diddy. The first, the original beard. The electrifying, probably the most, I want to say, flashy player of my era in regards to finishing at the rim, ball handle, passing ability, double circle with the flashy pass. Just a and one style player, and also very effective wherever you went. Trooper, clutch. Let's play his highlights as I talk about Baron Davis. See, oh yeah, as you see a highlight right there. A lot of y'all is familiar with the dunk on Karolinko and the ousting of the Mavericks. But Baron Davis is a nigga who been doing this for a long time. UCLA days, coming prospect, already early out the gate. Drafted by the Hornets. Led the Hornets to playoff appearances and showed up in the playoffs. Always, or in my opinion, didn't never have too much of the depth until you saw him with the one of the most exciting teams of my era, the Golden State Warriors. Like I told you, or as you know, took out the first seed Mavs with the MVP-led Dirk. Baron being the anchor, but he had Jay Rich. He had Captain Jack. He had, oh my God, you see the wiggle. He had Monte. An epic run in which he's going to be known for. Of course, finishing off with the Karolinko bang-out. But it was so much more to Baron Davis. You talk about clutch. You talk about killer. You talk about impact player. Not to mention, as you see the crazy circus layups. You talk about defense. He was a pest, a thief, as well as a big guard on the defensive end. Baron Davis was one of the first complete point guards that I've seen. Let's talk about, when you talk about hybridized guards, when you talk about excellent passers, decent shooters, post game, ball handle out this world, Baron Davis was not nothing to be played with. All up until the end, and the end was on NY, as you see. Played Miami in the finals and tore his ACL. Balled out in that finals as well, even though they got swept. But you talk about the emergence of the big guard, of a nigga who not only dribbles up the court but does something like this. Baron Davis needs to be respected as one of the ones who did it. Almost dunk contest champ. High riser, dunked on some of the greats, dunked on Kevin Garnett, dunked on Jermaine O'Neal. But where Baron is heavy in my heart is just the entertainment aspect of it. He was a showman, flashy with the handles, was almost an and one style player, in my opinion, as far as above the rim and below the rim. And he just had that swag, that flair that, you know, some players just don't got. A lot of niggas nowadays is effective, but that basketball flair, to do something like that, fake behind the back, then go behind the back. Yak out right there. When you ask how good was Baron Davis, if you asking me, it's one of the best guards I ever seen in my life. At his apex, which was the Hornets, as well as the Warriors. Once he got to the Clippers, he was still good, but he went to a place of disarray. Not David Stern. Donald Sterling, excuse me, he never got along with him, and that kind of spiraled his career as far as having success in the NBA, having a high level of success in which he was accustomed to. But on the Warriors and on the Hornets, everybody knew who Barron was. And Clippers Barron wasn't no slouch either. You got the rookie game. As I just watching OSU, I'm a fan. I'm a fan first, just like you. So that's why I can do these how good was players. It ain't always about the LeBrons and the Kobes and the T-Macs and the Iversons. We get them the credit, they Hall of Famers. But you talk about niggas breaking ankles. You talk about fake behind the back passes. You talk about and one shit. You talk about no look lobs. You talking about a walking highlight and a walking bucket. Baron Davis, easily one of my favorite players to watch. Easily. And he was in the era of Marbury, Steve Francis, a lot of these players who we started seeing had the and one flair to their game. But in my opinion, this was the best one out of all of those players to me. Then you transition to the new era of Rose and Westbrook, and now you see hybrid guards being able to flourish. But don't forget who was one of the first. May not go in the Hall of Fame, but this boy was a problem. Passing. One of my favorite passers ever. One of my favorite ball handlers ever. One of my favorite ankle breakers ever. One of my favorite high flyers ever. One of my favorite clutch players ever. His dunk on Karolinko, one of my favorite play ever. Baron Davis may not go down in history as one of the greatest point guards, but if you watched him in his time, you know he was a player to be fucked with. And he wasn't no joke. And he's from the city. He's a California dude. He's a LA native. So you know I got him heavy in my heart for that reason. But how good was Baron Davis? If you ask me, too good. Oh, that's Clipper Baron. That's Clipper Baron banging. Older Baron. Oh, that's Karolinko. Oh, that's Karolinko. Baron Davis, man, how good was. I had him in my top 5 point guards of my generation. You got Kidd, you got Chef, you got CP, and you got Baron right with those players. And Derrick Rose, of course. You know I got Rose, don't play with me. But Baron, vastly underrated. Today's kid won't know who he was. They don't know what a clutch Baron looked like. They don't know what that looked like. As I'm just rolling the film talking, paying homage, Pitbull, had young Blake, was the security guard for Blake Griffin. Used to protect big ass Blake. Niggas ain't knowing them days. Another game winner. Clutch, great passer, great scorer, post game for a little man. Think about it. How many point guards got post game now? He was a hybrid player, a one-of-a-kind player. As soon as he left, I missed the nigga. I missed the flash. I missed the thrill. We don't get this kind of excitement on a frequent nowadays. Nigga, break you down, do a spin, and throw some shit off the backboard to his homie type shit. I'm just watching. I don't know what's. Look at it. He played with the ball. It's putty. He played with the ball, man. I love watching this dude, man. And I'm really just rambling, talking. I ain't got too much words to say. I'm watching the film like y'all. They gave CP the Lob City credit, but this nigga was out there throwing them. They ain't gonna give Baron the credit. The throwing the lob in the Kia to Blake. How good was, man. I need my subscribers to comment and let me know the unsung heroes. I got a couple more in the bag waiting. But so far we got Baron and we got Brandon Roy, 2 unsung heroes who I felt need more credence in the game. And honestly, the peers know. Because the peers have to guard these niggas. The peers have to play them. the Mavs had to get ousted by him. So they knew the effectiveness. They had the game plan around a nigga like Baron Davis. Walking bucket, walking dime, just a walking nightmare if you the opposition. Let me know your thoughts, your comments on Baron. My nigga for life, B-Diddy. Shout out to him. Cali native. It's your boy Dame. Subscribe to Dame's World. You know what it is. As we leave out on this message. That shit look low-key booty. It's your boy Dame.